could get involved with for development.
I am a person.
Also looking at private property.
Mental health issues and the nature of the
There he is.
What's up, Big J?
My son, message. Affordable housing for all.
Well, give me a 6-word answer of what you think when you hear the proposal for the Heritage Square.
Let's think about it some more, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And we're looking at the costs associated with it at upwards of $400,000 a unit.
Is that true? We're talking about $400,000 per unit to build this thing?
There are some things unique about the site, but it's not unlike other sites in downtown Astoria.
Okay. Yeah, that just seems like a crazy amount per unit.
So 24 businesses and members of ADHDA responded.
I find housing to be of a more urgent issue than parking. Parking is something that's malleable. You can find alternate solutions to it.
What?
Housing with no parking?
Parking.
Finding parking. Parking.
Where's everybody gonna park?
We park. I don't know where our guests will park.
It is an issue in this town.
I think it's going to be pretty much of a mess if that building goes up at that location.
If there were a letter grade lower than F, then destroying parking access to Astoria Senior Center would certainly merit such a lower and more accurate rating.
Low-income housing, I don't see that as a problem, but I do see bringing in these crisis facilities into the area as a problem. I mean, you're going to create downtown as a crisis facility. That just doesn't make sense.
They are not empathetic. They are not considering the senior center.
For certain income challenged people, it might be better to be located closer to schools, grocery stores, and health facilities, just because they don't have as much transportation available to them.
Yeah, you really can't mix it. They're totally derelict and sick.
We don't want to turn into a Seattle and Portland with homeless people everywhere. We already have the issue.
We are not Portland and other big cities.
It might end up looking like Portland.
I mean, I was astounded when I watched the city council meeting because there was absolutely no discussion, no dissension, and it's becoming very divisive.
Representatives from the Chamber, Cedar, Crafts 3, Fort George, the Co-op, and Hayek have all said the current proposal won't serve many local workers.
Where's everybody gonna park?
All that housing with no parking?
Parking.
Finding parking. Parking. I don't know where our guests will park.
I think we need to look at our land inventory and strategize where the best placement of certain housing goes.
But life's not a fucking handout. You know, excuse my mouth. And the thing is this is the heartbeat of downtown Astoria.
I'm worried about the health of Astoria as a city more than anything else.
In a small town square where the old soda fountain's still there, there's a cafe on the corner, a cup of coffee in the morning, and we know everybody in there, where we can turn back time. Oh, darling, don't it sound divine? Out of debt and out of style in a rocking chair, living small town square. It's life full circle and you're right there in a small town square.
We know the Sunday market's very important to local economy. It brings in over $1 million a year. But Shelby and I are both very confident that we could find a suitable alternate location for the Astoria Sunday market should this block be developed.
But I think that the business owners are really going to pay the price.
But if downtown business isn't concerned, then maybe I'm just way out of the loop.
My concern is that the employers who will benefit will be big box retailers and fast food chains that pay their workers as little as possible.
The Coast Guard housing, because of their relocation to Tongue Point, would provide, I believe, like 50 or 60 additional parking spaces. And the timing of that actually would be really brilliant because, again, the parking itself would open up.
We were able to quickly relocate the parking space. So if we moved that parking lot problem so quickly, why is it that we can't move the building maybe to where the Coast Guard parking lot is?
Where are the clients who would be living in this building now living?
It varies between being inadequately housed and actually being homeless.
I've applied for housing, and was it 3 years ago, and still haven't got my vouchers.
Steve from the mini market is going to bend their ear. He corked their nose. Going to bend their ear. He says it's been do little or do nothing.
I would like to know what's being done about the homeless situation in Astoria, particularly next to our store on Commercial Street.
Central City Concern told him if he wanted to get out of Portland, they'd give him a one-way bus ticket wherever he wanted to go.
Tourists are a big part of what is going to keep downtown Astoria alive.
And it needs to be used for something else that's more appropriate for our beautiful downtown.
I'm unhappy that it's not a community space.
It's the only place we can continue our dream of having a public square downtown.
And there are other locations that low-income housing could be placed rather than in the downtown district.
And I feel like it's just going to be a larger gathering area for even more transient folk.
No, that's not okay.
You can't put up all that housing with no parking. We already have a parking problem in downtown Astoria.
Because there is a problem right now with parking in downtown Astoria. And a lot of people are going to pay the price for that.
Even worse than it already is. People already have an issue with finding parking.
I don't buy the argument of not in my backyard because I don't think that it's pertinent nor germane in this particular instance.
It doesn't have to be downtown. It just makes it more easier for the agencies to access the people that they need to access.
So the honest truth to your question of if not here, where, I really don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. I can say that if it's not at Heritage Square, obviously we would keep looking.
We need affordable housing. It probably is the wrong place.
Astoria is a city that's gone through 2 major fires and dealt with a lot of issues over the years. And if you think that you're not going to be impacted, you're wrong, whether you own a home here or you own a business. If this is allowed to go through, Astoria is going to take on a whole new persona and a whole new look when the tourists, who we're all relying on one level or another, quit coming. Because guess what spreads the fastest of anything?
Bad news.
Bad news. And nobody will be coming to Astoria, no matter how relevant our history might have been. The Portland of the North Coast. And if you...
In a small town